So let's get started. I don't want to make you guys wait. I want to honor your time. Um, we're going to talk about how to healthify the holiday season. I'm going to cover just the basics, the foundation of how to do that, and go over some recipes. And then we'll go over the mindset around Thanksgiving, depending on where you're at in your journey, whether you're on the gut healing protocol, you're in this for, weight loss, or you just really want to improve your health overall. So I'm going to cover all of that. And, when I'm going through this, I'm going to ask you guys questions and, um, share any insights that you guys may have or questions that you want to learn more about. This is really a time to kind of like workshop all of that. So let's get started. So the biggest foundation that I teach all my clients is just buying good quality ingredients. This makes the hugest difference when you're making food. And a lot of the things, at least for me, when I grew up, a lot of the stuff that we made was canned food, like, either canned cranberry sauce, which I still love canned cranberry sauce, but obviously fresh is better. Um, and then, a lot of sweets, like I know the biggest thing is the sweet potato casserole, like marshmallows on top. Obviously, marshmallows are very
At all, running just randomly.
what, Tammy?
I'm sorry, my son was washing dishes. I'm sorry.
That's okay. That's okay. Anyway, so focusing on like high quality ingredients is going to make a huge difference on your body, and just the way that you feel. And so buying, the first thing is high quality proteins. To me, this is the most important one because protein can have a lot of antibiotics and growth hormones. So buying grass-fed organic meat is going to be super important. Not everybody's making a turkey, so if you're making fish, I've had salmon for Thanksgiving before. Making sure that you're buying wild caught as well. Farm raised fish is a huge no-go. They're not eating their, natural diets. So focusing on high quality proteins, using freshly ground spices. I used to call myself like the saucy girl. Like I used to drench all of my turkey and stuff in like gravy and sauces. Nothing wrong with that. I still love sauces, but using fresh ground herbs really goes a long way. Welcome, Vanessa. And so using whole spices and kind of relying on, I personally like to get organic spices. I know that that's always accessible to everybody, but making sure you're reading your ingredients and there's no artificial ingredients like dextrose or malted dextrin. I know that they like to put that in seasonings, and just using the best quality seasonings that you have access to is going to enhance the flavor and really make things taste a lot better. And then opting for organic when you can. I know that eating healthier can be more of an expense. It can be a little bit pricier, I like to say. So looking at the Clean 15 or the Dirty Dozen and seeing like, hey, what's worth getting organic and what you can kind of have a little bit more leeway on. And so organic, that's like the number one thing from clients when they transition into a gut healing protocol or just like doing an immediate nutritional rebalance is like when they transition the quality of their food, they say it tastes better. It's more flavorful, it's more rich. And so just getting organic when you can is going to be so, so important. And then, of course, reading food labels. This is so important. And a lot of times when we go into the grocery store, we're kind of just like looking at the labels. And sometimes the labels can be like the front of the label can be deceiving based on like their colors. They're using more earthy colors. And we think that it's healthy. But really flipping it and looking at what are we eating, what are we putting in our bodies is going to be extremely valuable, especially during the holiday season, if you can be in control of, what you're making and what you're putting into your food. So want to look or try and stay away from corn syrup. High fructose corn syrup is going to be super, super important. Processed flour. Welcome, Savannah. Processed flours, white flour, any fillers that we want to avoid, like emulsifiers. Those are some things that we want to just really avoid. And when you buy organic, you typically do avoid all of that kind of junky stuff. So focus on just quality ingredients. If you're making your own dish, just get the best quality dishes. Like even if you want to make your own pie, like get the best darn ingredients so you can like really crush that pie and have like the best pie for Thanksgiving. So that's going to be the foundation. Any questions on quality ingredients? Any other information I can support you guys with to execute this? Okay, I'm going to move on. Cool. Okay, so 7 ways to really healthify your holiday recipes. One is whole grains. I love me some mashed potatoes, don't get me wrong. But if there's an opportunity to swap for like sweet potatoes, and I don't know if you guys know, but there's actually 5 different kinds of sweet potatoes. You're gonna have purple sweet potato, the orange sweet potato that we always know, henna sweet potato, Japanese, and jewel sweet potatoes. So you can kind of mix and match and get a little experimentative with it, creative with it. Another thing is going to be like using quinoa or millet. Some of us may not know what quinoa is. We've never even heard of that, never tried it. But quinoa is very similar to rice. And so you can make like a quinoa like little dish. Millet is also another option. And what's really going to kind of make this more like a Thanksgiving dish is the seasonings and the herbs that go into it. Other swaps that we can make, especially when it comes to baked goods, is going to be like almond flour, coconut flour, cassava flour, chickpea, einkorn. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of einkorn, but it's like a better quality of wheat. The processing is much more like what they do in like Europe standards, so it's not going to be refined. If you have a sensitivity to wheat, you probably won't have a sensitivity to einkorn. So that's always a good swap to do. You can always do brown rice flour and sweet potato flour. There's other flours out there like tiger nut flour, spelt flour. I've never used tiger nut flour, but I know that you can use it for baking. And then spelt flour is another option. It does have gluten. So if you're trying to avoid gluten during this holiday season, that may not be a good option. But using alternative flours can really, one, if you're going in this with like, hey, I don't want to eat too many calories, all of those flours are lower in calories. They're going to be easier on the digestive system. So those are just some like easy tips to consider when you're baking or making things that involve flour. The next thing is going to be natural sweeteners. So, things like cutting out white sugar, which I feel like in the holidays, it's like so hard to avoid sugar. It's literally everywhere. And so if we can swap things out for like honey or real maple syrup. I do love maple syrup. It is higher on the glycemic index. So again, if you're trying to reduce sugar intake, that one may not be the best one, but things like honey or coconut nectar. Has anybody tried coconut nectar before? Is that like a new one? No? Okay. Coconut nectar is low glycemic. It tastes amazing. There's 2 different kinds. So if you love like pancakes in the morning or you like just syrup on your, holiday stuff, or you want to put it as a sweetener, that is a great option. Other options are going to be like monk fruit, coconut sugar. So not coconut nectar, but coconut sugar is a really, really great option. Other things are going to be like stevia, which that one is going to have a little bit of an aftertaste, which may not always taste the best. But other things too are going to be like applesauce or dates. Dates are really good. I actually one time I think I made this for Christmas or Thanksgiving, one of them, and I made a vegan cheesecake. And I used it with no dairy and no gluten. And I actually made the cheesecake out of what is that nut from like Hawaii? It's like white macadamia nut. I made it through all macadamia nuts and nut milk, and then the base I made it with dates. So instead of breading, I just layered dates on it. put some frozen fruit on top, and drizzled some honey. It was like amazing. Nobody even knew it was vegan. So that's like an easy like little hack that you can do and just like make it easier, make it more healthful, stuff like that. I didn't even realize there was comments on here. Sorry, Anna, you're gonna have to read me the comments.
That's okay. It's just been me so far.
Okay. Okay, cool. Awesome. So yeah, those are some natural sweeteners. Honestly, they taste just as good, like just as good. Okay, number 3 is adding seasonal vegetables. Load up on these veggies. Okay, these squashes and carrots are amazing. I had a client send me the acorn squash recipe. Amazing. It's amazing. And so, and it's sweet. You know, like things like butternut squash and acorn squash, they're sweet. So they're almost like a dessert. Like once you start to change your palate, they're really, really good. And so load up on these vegetables, take it to Thanksgiving. It has a lot of fiber, so it's going to keep you full. And if you're, on a gut healing protocol, if this is the intention that you're on, having a lot of vegetables on hand is going to be super helpful to not overindulge on other things because you'll be full from that fiber. Excuse me. And so you can drizzle some olive oil. I love to bake my vegetables in duck tallow. I don't know if anybody's tried duck tallow. I don't know if I'm just like saying some weird stuff over here. But duck tallow kind of gives a different flavor to things. You can try also like beef tallow or, other different tallows. It's like rendered fat. I don't do this all the time. A lot of times I'll use olive oil or avocado oil. But if you want a little bit of a different flavor, those are some good ways to like bake or saute your vegetables in and then just season the heck out of them. So seasoning really goes a long way and really adds more flavor. The next thing is going to be roast and grill. So I've had fried turkey before. It's amazing. Like it's really good. But if we can avoid frying things and grilling them, that's obviously going to be a healthier option that we want to take. So, it's also going to help you avoid refined vegetable oils. That's why I really like to do like duck tallow. Like if you want to fry things, like it's going to be a healthier option to fry stuff in. Avocado oil is also a really great way to fry things in. Using an air fryer to fry things is also going to be another option to consider. So, yeah, these are some great ways that we can just healthify things. If you're kind of like not hosting something, it is going to be a little bit harder to navigate. But do what you can. We're not here to be perfect. We're just here to help kind of navigate how to make this year a little bit healthier than last year so you feel better and you don't feel tired and stuffed, like overly stuffed and bloated. Like you want to enjoy the evening, right? So yeah, so adding a lot of vegetables, seasoning them well, and then grilling things when you can, when possible. Okay, earlier I said I really love sauces. I used to sauce everything all the time. I'm getting these comments. I don't know if you guys can see. I just think about soul water. Have you ever tried that? Soul water? I've never heard of that before. What is that? I don't know, Tammy, if you can come off mute and explain.
Well, I just learned about it. You take 5 tablespoons of Himalayan or real salt, and you put it in a pint jar and you let it set for 24 hours. And then you take a teaspoon of that and add it to your water every day. They said it's supposed to be really, really good for you. And today I just tried it. It also helps, to me, I felt like it helped curb my appetite a little bit. It has so many beneficial factors.
Yes.
I didn't know if you'd heard of it.
Okay, now that yes, I do use real Redmond's pink Himalayan salt. I love it. That's another thing too, guys. If like iodized salt is not, it's okay. It's not the best. Pink Himalayan salt is going to be awesome because it has all of your minerals. Tastes really good. And putting in your water, like Tammy said, is super helpful. So if you're trying to curb your appetite a little bit, or you don't get enough sodium in your food, you can definitely add a little bit to your water. If you like the taste of salt in your water, like it's pretty minerally, I think it tastes good. Not everybody's gonna like that, but I love it. It is pretty healthy for you. So yeah, I love sauces. Sauces are also a good way to have hidden ingredients in them. So if you're coming into the holidays with, I want to be more mindful, I want to stay away from my trigger foods, be really careful of sauces because that's where dairy and gluten and sugar hides. So if you're also coming into this with like, I don't want to have an abundance of calories, like you're more conscious of weight, sauces is another thing that you want to kind of reduce. And that's where just seasonings are coming in handy. When it comes to seasonings, I did mention like organic. The reason I really like organic seasonings is because to me, they're more flavorful. And second, they're not irradiated. And irradiation is a process where they run it through like a radiation process to kill like bacteria and germs. But it's the same thing of like getting x-rays, like when you get radiation on you, you don't want to consume that. So organic is going to be cleaner. If you can get it, awesome. I like to get the pre-pack seasonings at Whole Foods. Whole Foods is not the only one that has it, like Trader Joe's, Sprouts, natural grocers do. But if you are getting pre-packed seasonings, just be mindful of the sodium content. If you tend to retain water really easily, you're going to want to be careful of that. Also be careful of like I mentioned, like fillers and things like that. But seasonings are my best friend in my kitchen. I get like a new seasoning bottle every week. Okay, cool. And then mocktails. So if you want to be mindful of alcohol this year, Hally had a previous mocktail workshop that she did, but looking up drinks that you can have, they're going to be more health conscious. If you're not wanting to indulge in alcohol, this can be really fun to have something good to socialize with, but without getting all of those empty calories and sugar. There's so much sugar in alcohol, depending on what you're drinking, I guess. But so this is going to be a great way to kind of get creative and do something different, things that are more seasonal. And so, yeah, that's a great workshop to check out, but there's going to be plenty of recipes like on Pinterest that we can look up. And if at the end you guys want to look up we can do that together. If y'all are interested in more mocktail recipes, we can definitely workshop that today. Okay, let's see. Okay, so let's dive into some recipes. So chocolate chip cookies are like my favorite. I call it my glutton button. I actually got that from one of my clients. Like I could go for seconds, like I could eat an endless amount of cookies. Like I love it. And I actually made this recipe and it came out pretty darn good. So, all you need is like almond flour, baking powder, coconut oil. If you're allergic to coconut, like I am, I used avocado oil, or you can use just butter. And then instead of maple syrup, I used honey, just because that's all I had. Vanilla extract, unsweetened almond milk, and just dark chocolate chips. They came out pretty good. It was a little different because there's no gluten. So my husband was like, they're like little muffin cookies, instead of like actual like cookies. Like these in the picture look so beautiful. I'm not the best at baking, but these came out really, really good, guys. Like I was actually pretty surprised, and they weren't overly sweet. I didn't feel bloated afterwards. So if you tend to feel like bloated after eating any wheat flour or white flour, this one was really, really good. So I highly recommend. Okay, apricot crisp. So this one I have not made yet, but I am a huge like apple pie person. I know this is apricot, but I probably substitute it for apple. And so these are just like some easy ways, like instead of using regular sugar, let's swap it out for coconut sugar. And you guys are going to get all of these recipes too. So after this workshop, you're going to get 2 sets of recipe books. The first one is going to be just full of desserts. So if you guys love dessert during the holidays, you want to indulge a little bit without, feeling guilty about it. There's a lot of recipes in there. And then the second one is going to be one on just actual dishes. So I'm going to cover it here, and then you guys will get that after the workshop. So I love, apple crisp, so I would probably substitute it for apples. Arrowroot powder is another good one. I think they substitute it for baking soda sometimes. I'm not quite sure, but I've tried arrowroot powder before. It tastes pretty good, and you can get these at any of the health grocery stores there.
Hey, Shayla.
Yeah.
A quick question. So I actually have to dip out a little bit early, but did you say that you're sending us the recipe book or like emailing it or something?
Yes. So Anna will send you the recording and the recipe books for you.
Okay. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Of course. Have a great evening.
Thank you. Bye.
No problem. Bye-bye. Cool. So, yeah, walnuts, coconut oil. If you guys, like I mentioned, are allergic to coconut, I would swap it out for avocado oil. It doesn't taste like anything. It doesn't have as much saturated fat, so it may not stick as much. So some of it's going to be a little bit learning curve. Butter is another option. So yeah, those are just some options to experiment with. Okay, pecan pie. Who's a pecan pie lover? Anybody? I know I'm not a huge pecan pie lover. Maybe it's like the traditional pecan like texture.
I love it.
Yeah. Are you more of a
I
pecan?
don't get to. What?
Are you more of a pecan lover or like an apple pie lover?
Apple pie.
Oh.
But I like pecan pie. It's truly a treat if I ever get it because we have nut allergies in our house, so it's kind of hard.
Oh, yeah.
I don't, but I don't do those for the holidays because if I did, I'd eat a whole pecan pie, and that's not okay. So.
Yeah. So I actually had a client make this recipe. He's a huge pecan pie lover. And I don't know, like if you actually make the real recipe with the sugar, it's like 7 cups of sugar, like no joke. And so kind of just making this one, you get to see like how much sugar is actually going into some of these recipes. It's really insane. And the more sugar we eat, the more we're going to crave it because we're feeding that bacteria. So if we can have a better, more whole form of sugar, that's not going to raise our blood sugar. That's not going to disrupt our gut microbiome. Awesome, and he was actually very pleasantly surprised how well this tasted. So obviously it's not as sweet, but I think that as you're going through your health journey, your taste palettes are also going to change. And what was once like perfectly sweet is now probably like too sweet. So, yeah, experiment with this one. I think it's going to come out great because of the pitted dates. That dates is going to have that same gooey texture that a normal pecan pie would have. And then you're just using, half a cup of cashews, unsweetened coconut flakes. Coconut's just like a really go-to well-rounded ingredient, I've noticed. Water and pecans. Like, guys, this is so easy, and it's going to be so fun to try these new ingredients. And then, show up with your family and showing them like, hey, you can still have fun and eat healthy, and it's not boring and bland. Like, who first thought that eating healthy was going to be boring and bland? Like, did you guys ever think that? Yeah. Starting your journey. I know I thought that. And I also thought that like organic and conventional were like totally the same. Tammy, did you want to say something?
No.
Okay, I saw you came off. So, but when I switched from conventional to organic, I noticed a huge difference in taste. Like the taste is better. I feel better. You don't have all those inflammation symptoms. So this is a great way to kind of feel like you're indulging, but without kind of falling off the wheel. You know what I mean? So this one's super easy. I think it's gonna come out great. I'm gonna make this one for Thanksgiving. Okay, so this one, I keep moving this far, but is pressure cooker squash soup. So if you guys really love some soup, this one's going to be really easy. Just squash, apple, water, cinnamon, some gelatin. I'm sure if you wanted to not have, if you wanted to replace that, you could do some other type of replacement for that. Maple syrup, and then I can't see the other one. Unsweetened coconut flakes. So yeah, this is going to be super easy, something that can make a lot of servings, so you can have plenty of leftovers. I know you mamas out there, you're like, I don't want to be cooking every night. So this is going to be great for, making a lot of servings. It's fun, it's sweet. It doesn't have to like taste healthy, right? Like the kids may be a little bit picky, but they don't have to know what's in here as long as it tastes sweet and looks good. They'll eat it. So this will be a really good fun recipe to do as well. Okay, paleo stuffing. I've made this one and it came out amazing. Like I got a lot of compliments from my family. My family is not the most health conscious. I love them. I love them. But they're more old fashioned like stuffing. We're from the South, like Texas. We love cornbread. And so this was like something totally different than the traditional way that we do it, but it came out very good. It has nice little crunch because it has walnuts in this one. And if there's anything that you guys don't like, you're like, hey, I don't really like this ingredient, we can totally swap out. There's been a lot of times where I swap out ingredients. Either I don't like it or I know my family won't like it. And it came out really good and it came out fresh. It made a lot of servings. So this one's going to be gluten-free and dairy-free, and you're getting a lot of vegetables in here. So far, any favorites? Any good favorite recipes I've shown?
That paleo stuffing looks really good.
Which one?
Paleo stuffing, it's making me hungry. I'm craving it now. Just looking at it, I'm like, I need that.
Yeah, this one was really good. Any other ones that you guys feel like is realistic for you guys to make and show up with to your family?
The roasted vegetables look pretty good too.
Yay! That's good. Do you think, Vanessa, do you think your boys would eat it?
I'm not sure. I think that they would be more into the dessert.
Yes.
I think I could slip one into them.
Yep. And that's like a great way to kind of start introducing healthier stuff too. Like if your family, they're open-minded, but they're still a little skeptical. They're like, I don't know if I want to try that. Start with something sweet. Start with something that is going to feel like a little bit easier. But these are some great ways to kind of change things up and still keep it, kind of traditional. Okay, this one is obviously a must-have during the holidays. Green bean casserole, guys. Like, I bet you thought I could not make this healthy. I just have to get the mushrooms in the soup or the mushrooms in a can, which you still can. I love cream of mushroom in a can. If you want to make it fresh, you totally can. But this one I've also made and it came out really good. So instead of doing the little fried crunchies on top, I just put almonds and I roasted the almonds and it came out amazing. So I love green bean casserole. Like it's probably next to like canned cranberry sauce. I love green bean casserole. So this one I made is great. I highly recommend you guys trying, and I think it would come out amazing and still kind of resemble like the traditional green bean casserole. Okay, turkey gravy. Who makes their own gravy? Anybody here? Kara, yeah. Anybody else make their own gravy? I know I don't. I know I definitely don't. God bless my sister-in-law, she does, and it takes her hours to do it. Or I know like my family used to do the powdered gravy and then like mix it. I don't know if you guys do that, but Gravy, I think, is another staple in the holidays. So if we can definitely healthify that, why not, right? So extra lean ground beef, you can use sea salt or pink Himalayan salt, and like virgin olive oil, garlic, sweet onion. Super simple, guys. Like eating healthy doesn't have to take a lot of time. It doesn't have to be like really expensive. If we just stick to the basics, like you don't even have to get all of these organic, then it could still be a really good budget saver, right? Making your own gravy, making your own stuffing and stuff like that. Okay, cheesy cauliflower and broccoli casserole. Again, kind of thinking about what is the intention coming in this? Are you looking to stay away from cheese, which actually they use cashews for cheese and not actual cheese. So if you want to substitute this with real cheese and cream, cool. But if you're looking to kind of remove dairy from this, cashews is going to be a really, really great replacement. Another really good, or they use cashews and nutritional yeast. So those are going to be the best. Nutritional yeast is going to come like in a bag. It's going to be yellow. My aunt saw me eating this one time, and she says it looked like sawdust and kind of made fun of me. But it tastes really cheesy. It's a really great vegan dish. It's a really great vegan swap. So it doesn't taste weird. I mean, it's not going to taste exactly like cheese, but when you mix it with the cashews, it actually tastes really, really good. So this is a great alternative that you can spice up. It can look presentable to the family, not something super foreign or weird. And so this can be a really great option. Okay, so I wanted to go over like brands of foods. So if you guys are like, hey, these recipes look good, but I still don't want to bake myself. I still don't want to do it from scratch. These are from, listing first best, second best, and third best. If you don't know Simple Mills, if you've never tried Simple Mills, you got to try Simple Mills. It is like the number one best baking brand ever. And the reason I say ever is because there's literally like 5 or 7 ingredients in the back, and they're all whole ingredients. They only use almond flour and coconut flour. They use coconut sugar, so no white refined sugar. They don't use anything like artificial sweeteners or flavors, no emulsifiers, no maltodextrin or dextrose. They use literally like what I showed you in those recipes in a box, already mixed and prepared. You just follow the instructions. They have a side where if you don't want eggs, you don't need to use eggs, you can replace them. So good. They have muffins, cookies, pancakes, breads, pizza. You can make your own pizza bread with it. Really, really good. Love this brand. You can get it at any health food store. I don't know if King Soopers has it. Anna, do you know if King Soopers has Simple Mills?
Some of the King Soopers do, and in varying degrees. But yeah, I've seen a lot of Simple Mills at King Soopers. It's pretty popular.
Yeah. Cool. So this would be my first because it's the cleanest. The second one is Bob's Red Mill. The reason I put this one second is because not all of their products are the same. So you really want to read ingredients. But this was a really good mix that I found for biscuits. If you want to make your own biscuits, this is a mix that you can have. And so it's not as perfect. You're going to find some stuff like probably some white flour in there. So if you're trying to stay away from gluten, this would not be one. They do have, this one is gluten-free, but not all of them are gluten-free. So just read the label, make sure you know what you're getting and honoring your health guidelines. My third one is King Arthur. They do tend to use a little bit more processed ingredients, but I would say like if this is the only thing that you have access to, it's definitely better than like other conventional brands, I would say. So they do have pancake mix, muffin, and cookie mix. I will say that their pancake mix is pretty darn good and clean. So like I said, just read the ingredients, read the food label, not just the nutrition label of the calories, but like what's actually in the mix. That's going to be really important. Okay, so for those of you, I'm trying to move this, okay, who really kind of need a more clarity on the intention, like what does mindful eating look like for you? And that's going to be totally different. Like Tammy's version of mindful eating is going to look like different than Vanessa, and likewise with Justine. So where are you in this season of your life? Are you doing a gut healing protocol? Are you trying to lose weight? Are you just really wanting to just eat more mindfully so you feel better? And so think about how strict you want to be. And I have 3 different mindsets that I like to talk about. Well, the first one is business as usual. Like, this is just another day. You're not going to indulge in anything because you're on a strict health plan and you want to stick to that. The second mindset is going to be party like a rock star. Are we just going to like throw our hair down and eat whatever we want and just party like a rock star? Or do you want to have a little bit of a blend of like, hey, I don't want to go crazy and overindulge in sweets, but I do want to eat a little bit, right? So what does that look like? Does it look like having having a lot of vegetables on your plate with a good portion of protein, and then having getting mostly full on the dinner portion or the main dish, and then having a little bit of dessert? And does a little bit of dessert mean like trying a little piece of everything, or only having what you actually know you're going to love, right? Because just because all of the food is there, that doesn't mean that you have to eat all of it. That doesn't mean that you have to try all of it. So I know I've been there before. At the end of the night, I'm like, oh my gosh, I ate way too much and I didn't even enjoy all of it. So having that clarity of what kind of mindset do you want to have going in. The next one is going to be understanding your 4 categories of food. Has everybody seen the 4 categories of food yet with Hally? You guys can just drop a 1 in the comments if you guys have.
I see a couple head shakes.
Cool. So the 4 categories of food, Hally breaks down how food nourishes our body. And the first one is going to be energy, right? Calories and macros. That's what most diets talk about, is like how food is energizing our body. Second one is information, the nutrients that we're going to get from our body. The third one is connection, like when you go on a date and you're eating food that you enjoy, that's connection. And then the fourth is medicine, using food for healing. Thanksgiving is going to be a time for connection. So going in also with some grace for yourself, of like, hey, I'm going to enjoy the time with my family, and I'm going to have things that nourish my soul, that nourish time with my family. And sometimes that's not always going to be the healthiest, but it's, maybe something, it's like a tradition that you guys do. So just knowing that like this is a time to nourish your soul and have grace for yourself, and that you don't always need to be super strict. But that's going to look different for everybody. The next is like paying attention to what you eat and savoring each bite, making sure that you're eating slowly, you're chewing your food, and you're enjoying the time that you have with your family. This doesn't need to feel like stressful or overwhelming or overthinking of what you're going to eat. Come prepared, have a plan in mind, have a strategy, and just be present in the moment with the food. Focus on the foods, like I mentioned, that you truly enjoy. So for me, like I don't like pecan pie, so I'm not going to eat any of it because I know I don't want to waste it, but I do love cookies and apple pie, and that's me all day. So I'm going to definitely either make my own apple pie so I can enjoy the ingredients, or I'm going to buy a super awesome pie at the store. And Whole Foods does have a gluten-free, dairy-free, organic apple pie, and it was pretty dang good. So kind of just, if you know you really love something, knock it out of the park. Like have the best ingredients for it and make the best dish for yourself so you can enjoy it. And then as we've been talking about this whole time, bringing your own dishes, having a safe place to come back to if like your family is not as health conscious, bringing a couple dishes that you know you can get full on, so that way you're not starving and eating things that don't really feel nourishing. Does that make sense? Yeah. Has anybody else taken like a different approach, or had an experience with a family member maybe overly asking about nutrition, or if they're on a diet? I know that's kind of been some questions before from clients. Yay, nay? No, not really? Okay, cool. Moving on. Alrighty, setting healthy boundaries. So this is what we're going to be talking about. What does boundaries look like? And I know that I've had some clients come to me, like I mentioned, who are like, man, I know that if I talk about nutrition or I talk about what I'm doing, that they either get peer pressured into eating things that they don't want, or peer pressured into feeling guilty or weird about what they're eating. So just planning ahead on what you want to have at your Thanksgiving, at your holiday season, so that you feel comfortable and safety what you want, but also communicating clearly to your family, to your friends, of like what your dietary preferences are, especially if you are on a gut healing protocol, and you just can't eat certain things. Like, that's totally okay. Just be clear and be respectful, explaining your choices, walking them through of like why you're doing certain things, which is part of educating them. Like, this is an important season for you to heal, for you to nourish your body. That's going to look like different for everybody. So if you are kind of, looking to improve the quality of your nutrition because of health concerns, then this is an important time to kind of communicate that clearly with your family members, and have it be a way where you guys can bond over it, and maybe not bond, but communicate more clearly, like on your intentions for eating healthier. Okay, setting boundaries respectfully. I know that this is something that I have had to do with my family, because I'm always having, when I was first stepping into my journey of health, asking like, hey, what is in this? Which is totally okay. Like, asking your family, like, what is this made out of? What's in here? Asking questions, becoming curious, making adjustments as you're eating. That way, you're honoring your health needs. So setting your boundaries respectfully. If someone insists on offering you something that doesn't align with your dietary choices, you can politely decline, and you can say something like, I appreciate the offer, but I've chosen not to eat that right now. Redirecting conversations that, don't involve nutrition. If family members, continue to push food, redirect conversations and engage in other topics. And so if that's something that you struggle with family members, these are some really good, empowering ways to avoid conflicts in the holiday season around food and nutrition and things like that. And then, of course, staying positive, guys. Like, this is going to be a fun holiday season, eating nourishing food, spending time with family. If you guys are just kind of doing something at home and relaxing, it's the time to just, enjoy the holiday season. So staying positive with choices and just doing the best you can while giving yourself grace is going to be the most important thing. Cool. Any questions on setting healthy boundaries?
I don't have a question, but I had like a comment. I think when you like explain that it's for a health reason, I think that helps people to have a lot more grace, because I think a lot of times people feel like you're attacking the way they make food. But if you're just explaining like people, if you told people you had like a true allergy to something, they wouldn't force you to eat it. So if you tell them like, hey, this like gives me a headache, or this bothers my gut or something, I feel like that helps a lot to like, oh, you're not just like, oh, I'm not eating that, I don't like your food.
Yes, exactly. I know I've had that problem too, or like they think I'm, kind of bashing on how they eat or what they do, but nope, just like a health reason. And one thing I do want to mention is, like, if you do indulge in something, just be sure that it is worth it. Like, if you know that gluten makes you feel really awful and bloated, come prepared with some digestive enzymes, which we do have some from Zymogen that are really awesome. So if you do know that gluten or dairy doesn't do well with your body, come prepared, take a digestive enzyme before, and that will help you digest everything better so you're not bloated and tired and gross feeling afterwards. But yeah, Anna, I love that. Thank you. Cool. Any questions on the recipes? Any questions that you guys may have that I can best support you, as your health coach? Good? Cool. Awesome. So Anna's going to send over those 2 recipe guides and then, the recording as well. So what do you feel like was most valuable from today's workshop?
Well, I want to make the pecan squares and the like that broccoli casserole. That looks really good.
Yeah. Good. I tried to make recipes that were like actually around Thanksgiving.
I loved all the recipes. To be honest, I probably won't do any of that this year, just because of my kitchen situation. So my family loves the green bean casserole, so I'll probably make the traditional one. I hate green bean casserole, so I'll probably make some broccoli or just something simple that
Mhm.
is a side that I enjoy. I just don't like that stuff, so my goals are going to be a little different. It'll probably be more protein heavy, more just straight simple veggies kind of thing. And if I want to have a little bit of sweet potatoes and mashed potatoes, just like a spoonful or something, just to have a taste of it, but to not overindulge in that because I know it'll make me sick and feel icky if I eat too much of it.
Yep.
So it'll just be serious moderation. So
Yeah. A good one also too for sweet potato casserole. Do you guys make the one with the marshmallows on top?
no.
No.
It's usually whole, like actual sweet potatoes,
Oh, okay.
not mashed up. Like
Okay.
the person that makes it is she actually uses bakes the sweet potatoes and puts a little glaze over it. So with orange juice and things like that. So and
Oh,
cinnamon and things. It's really good. It's simple.
yeah, that sounds really good. I was gonna say there's one that I think I put it in the recipes as well. It's sweet potatoes with pecans on top, and like you
Hmm.
glaze it with like a maple or honey
Yeah.
on top.
Yeah, that sounds good.
So that would be like a good alternative if you guys do the marshmallows. I know some people are like diehard marshmallows on top of their sweet potatoes.
Nope.
I'm personally not, but some of my family members like they have to have that. So, but the pecan version is a good healthy version, and that one that you mentioned, Kara, sounds good.
Yeah, it's all good. I just know I love all these, and I'll probably like bank them for like the next holiday season, just because of my situation right now. But that's okay because it's exciting and they do look really yummy.
Yay, good. Awesome. Well, I hope these recipes were helpful. I hope these, the foundation was really helpful to stick to. I know that when it comes to like the holidays, it kind of feels like, okay, I'm just gonna eat whatever. It's the holidays. I'm gonna throw my hair down and, let loose. But we can still definitely stay on track with our goals and our healthy nutrition habits just by making these simple transitions and ingredients. So I hope that this was helpful and provided some good insights and action steps moving forward. Any questions or anything you guys want to cover in terms of healthifying recipes? Any other recipes you guys have in mind that is like a staple for you?
I know.
Tammy, I think you're talking, but you're on mute. I don't know if you had a question, or maybe you're typing, I don't know. Any other recipes you guys want me to go over before we hop off?
I
No,
have a
but thank you
question.
for everything.
Yeah, of course, my pleasure.
Um, I've seen on occasion applesauce, like unsweetened applesauce, be used as a substitute in baking recipes. I think it's a sugar. Anyway, what's your experience with that? And what is it
Applesauce has been good.
you would use it for?
So I my best friend who I used to roommate with was a chef. She still is a chef. And I was blessed with having her make me some really awesome, unique dishes. And she would use applesauce for some of the stuff. So I can't tell you exactly what I use it for, but I have had it and it has worked really well. And it actually comes out really nice and sweet, but not overly sweet where it's overpowering. So yeah, I think that would be a good option. And there's one at Whole Foods, which I know I'm like a Whole Foods fan because they just have more variety. But there's an apple and pear applesauce, and that one is really good as well. So I don't know if you guys have tried that.
Okay, well, because I bought an organic unsweetened applesauce from Walmart the other day. And my kids haven't discovered it yet. I don't know if they can hear me.
I can.
Maybe I need to just hide because they'll just eat it by the spoon, but that's not why I bought it, you know.
I think you could make it for maybe make it for cookies instead of I don't know how that would come out. Cookies or I think she used it in a bread, like she was making some type of bread and she used like applesauce as like the sweetener.
Like
Um
a quick bread, like banana bread or things like that. And
yes.
so there's a lot of recipes out there that use applesauce as a substitute. And so you can even Pinterest that or something, you know. So it's a pretty common, you should be able to find a lot of good options out there.
Yep.
Sorry to interrupt.
No,
So,
you're good. Interrupt. It's okay. That's what we're here for.
yeah.
Cool.
I do want to say thank you for the the different boxed things, you know, the simple meals and all that, going
Oh, yeah.
over that kind of stuff because I have some of the King Arthur gluten-free stuff. I just have been too scared to use it. So maybe now I will. I don't know why I'm scared. It's stupid, but
Yeah. Yeah, like see how that makes you feel. And I'd love for you to compare it to Simple Mills with the taste. That will be interesting. That's so funny. I'm glad that you had that. I'm glad I was able to share that with you and it actually like connected. Cool. Well, it's been such a pleasure seeing each and every one of you. Thank you so much for joining the workshop. If you have any questions at all, please don't hesitate to reach out. I'm here to support you 110%. And I want to make sure you feel confident this holiday season. Cool. All right, guys. Well, you have a great rest of your evening. Have a wonderful and blessed Thanksgiving. And I look forward to seeing you guys when you come back or when we come back.
same to you. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.